welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to go over a story that was actually sent over to me for the SSM channel. However, it was so out there that I thought it was better suited for this channel. All about a guy who's in his early 30s, and he's married 7 years, thought he had a great marriage, and then lo and behold discovers one day, somehow, I'm not going to say how, that his wife has opened up the marriage without actually informing him of this decision. And let's just say that it doesn't go very well for her and how he handles it in terms of, well, I'm not going to say much, but it's definitely going to give you a laugh. And to no surprise, a complete 180, her begging to take him back. And you're going to see how this whole thing plays out. And that'd be a good one to go over here, guys, to show you just when they ask for, if they ask for an open marriage or they have an open marriage that you know about it, it's over. Even if they actually technically haven't done anything physical yet, it's over because you can't trust them. And I might add, if you catch them and they start talking down to you and gaslighting you, it's over. Don't waste your time because it's only a matter of time before they pull out crap again. As well as many other important things here. And by the way, this is a two-part show because these stories are long and I'm not going to do all in one part. So I'm letting you know now in advance. And then I'll be covering part 2 a couple hours after this thing posts. So definitely grab your popcorn. This is definitely an interesting one. He says, I'm sending this post because I need advice and I don't want to turn to family or friends. Well, bro, that's why we're here. And of course, quality entertainment. You will see why later. So I'm asking for guidance about whether I should remain in my marriage or simply get a divorce and move on. I need your help. Well, I'll save you a whole lot of trouble. Get divorced. Amen. The video's over. Have a nice day, everyone. Well, that would be a lot of fun, so I'll read this whole thing. My name is Brad. I'm a 34-year-old male. My wife, Beth, is 33 as well. And we met 10 years ago and have been married for 7 years. Smack! I got married after only 3 years of knowing her. Well, you're about to see, you didn't really know her. I've always believed that we had a great marriage. No lies, no secrets, just a loving, trusting marriage that has been nearly perfect both physically and emotionally. Nope. Beth works as a real estate agent. I work in sales for a regional computer company. We have no kids, we both work on commission, and we're both very good at our jobs. Well, what could go wrong? About 2 months ago, Beth started talking about a new hire in her office, another real estate agent named Tom. Beth told me Tom is funny, smart, has great ideas about boosting sales, blah, blah, blah. Now, women obviously like to talk and babble on about their day. I've lived with women before, I've had girlfriends. But when she starts talking about a particular dude a lot, that's a red flag. That's why they go bananas when you talk about another woman, even though you have no interest in the woman. When she told me she was thinking about starting a sales team with Tom, I began to get really concerned. Beth is among the top 3 salespeople in her office every month. I asked her how her teaming up with Tom would boost her sales. She didn't have a sensible answer for that one, and when I asked her what's going on with this guy, she said there is nothing going on, just workmates. But she stopped talking to me about him. How interesting. The week before last, Beth told me that she had been sent for compulsory training starting the following Friday. This past Friday, the training was to learn about changes in real estate law in our state. The training was something Beth's boss insisted that Beth do. It was at a resort in a city about an hour and a half away by plane from where we live. She'd fly out on a Friday afternoon at about 6 p.m. and be home early Sunday morning. All the arrangements were being taken care of by her office. She'd need to leave for the airport Friday about 4 p.m. When I told her I wouldn't be able to take her to the airport on Friday because of an important meeting with a customer, Beth told me her office hired a car to take her to the airport Friday and bring her home on Sunday. I didn't need to worry about her taking to the airport or picking her up. If this guy is suspicious, he should have been like, you know what? How about I come along? You know, you do your work and I'll be hang out at the pool, something like that. See what she would have said. Friday afternoon comes and I had a meeting at 2:30 with one of my best customers to talk about a large order for computer equipment and installation. The customer liked my proposal but had questions and wanted to meet Friday afternoon. You don't schedule appointments with customers for Friday afternoons, especially in the summertime. Customers are already thinking about their weekend. They either tune out of the meeting or just outright cancel so they can get an early start on their weekend. And that's what this guy did. I was leaving my office for a meeting, walking to my car when he called. He told me he answered the questions he had on his own and I should expect a purchase order next week. Have a good weekend and goodbye. It had been raining all day, and as soon as we got off the phone, the sun came out. Not only was I going to get a huge commission for this order, but I could get home and see Beth before she left for her training. Maybe it's not too late to cancel the hired car, and I could take her to the airport. I was having a great day, and I arrived home a little before 3 p.m. How many of these stories have I done where it's all about the guy who gets home early and discovers the wife is up to no good? So many times. When I opened the door and was about to yell that I was home, when I heard Beth laughing upstairs in our bedroom. Uh-oh. I also heard a man's voice on what sounded like a speakerphone. I couldn't make out what he was saying, but from the timbre of my voice, I knew it was a man. Beth stopped laughing and said that, no, I was completely clueless. I believe she was going for training. I had no reason to trust her and didn't really question her about the trip. I heard the man's voice again, and Beth giggled. I took off my shoes and quietly climbed up the stairs. So you're coming home, honey, I'm home, and you overhear her having a conversation with some jackass, and obviously you talking about you and all that. Imagine if you didn't come home early. So I stopped and peeked through the bedroom door. Beth had her back to me and was packing her clothes, folded in the bed, in a small suitcase. She was wearing a tight red dress that came down to the middle of her thighs. The dress was so tight you could see the outline of her butt, and there was no panty line. Oh, for a work trip, huh? Really? That sounds like real comfortable airplane attire. Please. Beth's phone was on speaker, laying on the bed. The man on the phone asked why all of a sudden she decided to go away with him. Go away with him? I thought she was going on a work trip. He's been after her for weeks, and she wouldn't even let him kiss or hug her. He's not complaining, he's simply curious why, after denying him for weeks, Beth's now willing to spend the entire weekend with him. Say what? A whole weekend with him? Thought you were going on a work trip, honey. Beth explained this was a serious step she was taking, something she's never done before, but she's decided he was right. She's more than just a wife, she's her own woman. If she wants to have some fun with a guy who's not her husband, well, that's exactly what she'll do. Her own woman? Guess she's been watching too many feminism videos, huh? Can't be a strong, empowered woman nowadays unless you can supposedly have all the options that men take advantage of. What a load of crap. And when she gets back Sunday, she'll tell me about their weekend together. She'll answer all my questions completely and honestly. I'll be upset, of course, but I'll get over it. I love Beth too much to let a weekend away with another man disturb our marriage. She continued that Tom, Brad and I have a great marriage. No one is ever going to come between my husband and me, not you or anybody else. This weekend is just to have some fun, nothing more. Well, this explains how women like to... This is why a lot of women go for the bad boys, because the bad boys are going to call them back. They get their hookup and that's it, they walk away. And it's more about the attention validation for the cheating and all that, but her perception of the dude telling this story is, hey, no matter what she does, he ain't going anywhere. And that is why she needs to know that if she pushes you too far, you're out of there. And why you don't put him on the pedestal. So it was Tom on the phone. Tom is that co-worker, remember that? She was spending the weekend with her co-worker. Beth told Tom that she didn't tell me her plans in advance because she didn't want a big fight and didn't want me to spend the weekend angry, upset, moping around, worrying about what she was doing. She doesn't want me imagining what she and Tom were doing in bed. It'd be better to explain everything when she returns Sunday. Now, again, guys, you can see why I did this video over here, this story over here, because this is fucking crazy, but truth certainly can be stranger than fiction. You just never know with the harpies these days. So I'll continue. Instead of letting my imagination run wild, she will be able to answer any questions that I have. She'll be completely honest with me. Yeah, sure. She'll assure me that this changes nothing in our marriage. She loves me and only me. In other words, she's forcing an open marriage. He's eavesdropping on this conversation, guys. So basically, she's going to force an open marriage. We'll continue to be a happy, loving couple. We've always been. This was just something she needed to do for herself. It had nothing to do with me or our marriage. It has to do with her needs. She'll make me understand on Sunday that she has returned to me, the man she loves. She's not leaving me. I'll be happy that she picked to stay with me over the other guy, so our happy marriage will be even better than before. So in other words, after 10 years, she needs some side dick. That's about it. And I have a hard time believing she hasn't cheated before. So if this guy did the same thing with a female coworker, you telling me she'd be cool with it? Yeah, bullshit. Tom, again on speakerphone, said that all week he's been fantasizing about their weekend together. He can't wait. Tom needs to get a fucking life. and an ass whooping. They'll go out to dinner tonight because that's what Beth wants, and he's not planning to eat to get out of bed again until they leave on Sunday. Beth laughed and said not to worry, she's bringing plenty of condoms. Beth picked up a box in the bed, shook it near the phone so Tom could hear it, and put the box in her suitcase. Tom asked why she's bringing condoms. They won't need condoms. Beth replied she doesn't want to bring home any unwelcome gifts Tom might have and pass it on to her. Tom said she'll give up on condoms after the first time or two. Beth laughed and said, "We'll see." Meanwhile, this guy telling the story is listening to all this. I don't know how he's not, responding in a way that's, warranted here. Tom then asked if she thought it'd be okay with Beth and him continuing as lovers. Would I put up with Tom and Beth going on dates, spending nights together, and weekends away? Beth told Tom that they shouldn't get ahead of themselves. They should just see how this weekend goes. She just wants to have fun, and Tom shouldn't pester her about the future. She also needs to see how freaked out I am by all this. Tom suggests that Beth just not tell me. Beth replied that I'm going to know everything. She's not going to sneak around behind my back, at least not again after this one weekend. Oh, well, at least she has a code here. So it's easier to beg for forgiveness than ask permission, one of those situations. But regardless, she wants to open up the marriage, but not tell this guy. Tom said he'd be at our house to pick her up in 30 minutes. Does Beth want him to come to the door? No, just honk when he arrives. She doesn't want the neighbors to see Tom coming to the door and think he and Beth are going on a date. He told her how beautiful and sexy she is, and she said that he will see her shortly. They got off, and Beth continued packing. Well, with all Tom's compliments on her, and I can't wait to see you, and this, Tom is just this thirsty, simp who just, in my opinion, just happened to catch her at the time that she wants to cheat. Come on here. So she got off the phone. I thought about confronting Beth right then and there, but I was curious about how many lies she would tell me before I let her know I was on to her. I quietly went back downstairs, put my shoes back on, and quietly opened the front door, and then slammed it shut. I called out her name, wanting to help her, wanted her to think I just got home. She yelled down, asking why I was home so early. Yeah, not like, oh, I'm so glad you're here that I can kiss you goodbye, instead of, what the hell are you doing home? I went up to our bedroom. Beth looked very nervous. No shit. She had closed her bag and asked again why I was home so early. I ignored her question and asked her where she was going so dressed up. Was she actually planning to get on a plane dressed like that? She said they changed the venue for the training to a resort closer to home. She needed a place about 45 minutes by car from our home. So they explained they're driving instead of flying. I asked her who are they, and she told me that Tom has to take her to the training, so he generously offered to drive the two of them. Hear that alarm? Everywhere I go, sirens, alarms. I could rent a camper in Alaska and drive out to the middle of nowhere, and there'd still be alarms going off. And there you go, it stopped. So she got dressed up for Tom. No, silly, she said. There's a dress-up welcoming dinner for the attendees. That's why she's wearing an evening dress. She twirled around and asked me how she looked. I ignored her and walked up to her. I reached down, grabbed the hem of her dress, and pulled it above her waist. No panties. No panties, huh? Yeah, proper work attire. Also, clearly no bra either. I asked her why she's not wearing any underwear. She said the dress is meant to be worn without a bra. She took off her panties because the dress is tighter on her than when she bought it. She chuckled and said that she must have put on weight. Anyway, her panties are too visible, so she took them off. Then she asked me, why all the questions? It's just a boring training weekend. She thinks she can use the Jedi mind trick on this guy to get him to believe this bullshit, but there are actually husbands that would buy into this crap because they want to make her mad. I asked her why she's taking condoms to a boring training weekend. She turned white and just stared at me. There you go. Good luck having an answer for this one. And then she asked what I'm talking about. Why would I think she's taking condoms? How about the fact you just turned white when I mentioned that? Have I lost my mind? I walked over to her closed suitcase and began to open it. She tried to stop me, but I put my body between her and the suitcase and unzipped it. I picked it up, dumped all the contents on the floor, and kicked her clothes around on the floor. Good for you, dude. She had packed some sexy lingerie, some shorts, and a tank top. Another dress like the one I had on, but a different color, and a sweater. I picked up the box of condoms, I opened the box, and dumped the condoms on the floor. She got down on her knees. Well, that's something she's good at. And started to stuff everything back in the suitcase. She looked at me while she threw her things back in the suitcase. Then I have to do this right now. Tom will be there any minute, and I'm starting to fight rather when she has to leave. She doesn't have time for this. Doesn't have time for this? You're packing up condoms on a trip. You're in a dress with no underwear. What do you expect me to think here, honey? I asked her again why she's taking condoms. Okay, she admitted there's no training. She's going to spend the weekend with Tom. That's her response? That's just something that she has to do. She didn't want to tell me before because she didn't want me to spend the weekend worrying about her or our marriage and imagining all sorts of crazy things. What I expected to be thinking about when she takes a box of condoms on some trip. Really? She was planning to tell me everything on Sunday when she returned. We would discuss why she needed to do this, and she would answer any of my questions, and I had fully and honestly. That's her response. This guy clearly in her eyes is the biggest simp in the world that will never cut her loose. I said like she's been totally honest about her plans so far. She blushed and said she only lied because she didn't want me to freak out all weekend and do something insane. She's doing something insane. There was nothing I could do about her spending the weekend with Tom, so there was no reason to upset me in advance. She wanted to spare me a weekend of hurt and anguish. Oh, well, thank you for being so thoughtful, sweetheart. Once we talked Sunday, I would realize the weekend with Tom was no big deal. She explained everything to me, and we would get on with our marriage. What a steaming pile of crap. Again, the Jedi mind trick here. Okay, if he would do this with some female coworker, do you think she'd be cool with that? If her marriage and her lifestyle and his resources were on the line? I think not. I asked how long she's been hooking up with Tom. She looked at me and said that she's not been with another man since our first date 10 years ago. Sure. She's never kissed, hugged, or even been intimate with Tom or anyone else since we met. She's been completely faithful to me. She loves me and is not interested in a relationship with Tom or anybody else. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. No woman that loves her guy would ever do this. She would never leave me for another man. Her attraction to Tom is purely sexual. Oh, okay, I feel a lot better. Well, you go have a good time, sweetheart. Christ's sake. And she certainly does not love Tom. She has an itch and needs to scratch it. That's all. So she agreed to go with Tom for a weekend for some meaningless fun. No big deal. She'll be back Sunday, and that will be it. This weekend is a one-off thing, a sort of vacation from her life. She'll be with Tom or anybody else she won't be with Tom or anybody else after this weekend. She's not interested in romance with anybody but me. Yeah, this is amusing and all, and sick, but this is when you should be kicking her out. Opening the window, throwing out her suitcase, throwing her to the streets, that type of thing. I told her I don't believe anything she says, and she says, believe it or not, what she said is true. She's been completely faithful to me and will be again after this one weekend. I asked her how she could be so delusional to believe this wouldn't affect our marriage. If she leaves with Tom, I will certainly divorce her. Well, you're going to divorce her anyway. She finished up stuffing her bag in her suitcase, zipped it up, and frowned at me. She told me not to be so dramatic. I'm making too much of this. She and I are not divorcing. I beg to differ. She and I have been in bed together thousands of nights. She's going to spend 2 nights with Tom. A drop in the bucket in comparison to what she and I have together. This is simply something she has to do. Did she read this in a fucking magazine? Really? Empty threats about divorcing her isn't going to stop her leaving with Tom. We both know I'm not going to divorce her over this. She looked at her watch and said that she has to get going. We can discuss this all when she returns on Sunday. Just don't go nuts before we have our talk on Sunday. She needs to do this. If I love her, I won't try to stop her. This is the rationale. Now again, guys, this sounds pretty fucking out there, but you never know. There are some gals that have such a gall to do this. I told her she loves me, she wouldn't be going out with another man, and she says that she loves me unconditionally. She's completely happy and satisfied with me in every possible way. This is just a sexual fantasy she must fulfill. She doesn't love Tom, there's no emotional connection with him. It's just sex for heaven's sake. It has nothing to do with her love for me or our wonderful marriage. I told her if she left with Tom, she's not welcome back here in our home. I will change the door locks so she cannot enter the house. I'll call a divorce attorney Monday morning and we'll certainly be divorcing. She told me to stop acting like a child. She'll be back Sunday and we can talk over everything. And then when we can get back to our life together. that I have to understand that she's more than just my wife. She has a life of her own needs and wants. And this is something she's going to do that doesn't involve me. Wow. Okay. What YouTube channels has she been watching? There's nothing I can do about it, blah, blah, blah. I'm behaving like a jealous, insecure, controlling, selfish idiot. Yeah, whenever a guy stands up for himself, he's suddenly controlling and selfish and all that. She has a right for not telling me her plans in advance. Our marriage vows beg to differ. For the sake of our marriage and our life together, I should just get over it. She said the time will be here any second when I bring her suitcase downstairs for her. I told her to go fuck herself. Tom's getting an ass whooping. So I left the bedroom, went downstairs, and sat on the couch. I still don't believe she would actually go through with this. Oh, I do. She came down a few minutes later carrying a suitcase, her purse, and a pair of black, very high heels. Well, that's her hooker heels. She put her suitcase near the front door and put on her heels. She said that she doesn't want to leave with things like this and me angry. Can we just put everything on hold until she returns Sunday? You mean take a break? She loves me. She's not trading me for time. Can't I understand that this is just something she has to get out of her system? Okay, well, I'm going to go bang your sister because that's just something I have to get out of my system. Is that okay? We heard a car outside honk, and she said, that's Tom. She has to go. Can I at least try to calm down, not do anything crazy before we talk Sunday? She told me that she loves me. I told her she won't be able to return here ever. She said to me to grow up. She has to go. Can I at least tell her that I love her? I said nothing. She frowned, picked up her suitcase, and opened the door. I called out her name, got up from the couch, and walked over to her. She smiled. She probably thought I was going to give her a kiss and tell her I love her. My usual way of saying goodbye to her. Instead, I slapped her across her face. Whoa. Not saying I could blame him, but that can get the police involved. We all know it. Hard enough to knock her down. I'm not sure which of us was more surprised. I never did that before, or any woman. Never in a million years did I ever think I would. I'm not advocating that sort of thing. I'm ashamed of myself and believing it's among the worst things I've ever done. It's funny, but if the situation was reversed and a woman did that to a guy, nobody would think anything of it, and you all know it. Beth was on the ground looking at me with a stunning horror. Well, it's about time. I bent down to pick her up, but she turned on her side and put her arms tightly around her head. I guess she thought I might do it again. I couldn't get a hold of her arms, so I grabbed the back of her dress to try to pull her up. The dress was flimsy, because she's a floozy, and tore all the way down to her back. I pulled her up by her hair, opened the door, and deposited her on the front yard. You picturing this? Struggling to pick her up, whoosh, out the door. I opened the suitcase and dumped the contents on the lawn next to her. I kept her purse. I told her she would not be safe if she tries to return here again. I never want to see her face again. And that is the end of part 1. Because I'm not doing this and I need a bathroom break. Yeah, I had a lot of coffee today. Too much information. But now, guys, I'm going to do part 2 in 2 hours. And you're going to see where how this picks up. And the complete 180 she does after the whole, well, you know what he just did. I can't mention that on YouTube because, you know, YouTube's psycho about that. And the begging and the pleading and all the drama and all that. So stay tuned. You'll see how this story wraps up. And here the alarm's going again. See you soon.